Welcome back to GDT Tech Reviews. In this video we are going to do a detailed review and pick the top 5 best Canon camera, 2022. So let us get started and the review based on our studies and small research. If you have any personal suggestion, do let us know in the comment section. If you are for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon for more videos. We will be also providing affiliates link to purchase from Amazon. Kindly use to for best offers and purchase from anywhere in the world. So let's get started. The Canon EOS Rebel SL3 is an APS-C DSLR camera that's compact and easy to use. It takes decently sharp images, has a reasonably effective autofocus system, and is fitted with a responsive, fully articulated touchscreen interface. It offers a wide range of ports and connectivity options for videographers and can shoot 4K and FHD video. Unfortunately, the image and video stabilization performance isn't especially impressive overall, so you may need to use a tripod for some shots, and the video quality is mediocre in 4K. The Canon SL3 is decent for landscape photography. It keeps noise and graininess in images to a fairly low level, even when using moderately high ISO settings. Its fully articulated screen is bright enough to be seen in direct sunlight. While it's relatively compact for a traditional DSLR, those accustomed to using point-and-shoots or phones to take pictures may find it a little bulky and tricky to carry around on a hike. Command dials, mode wheel, and buttons operate smoothly and precisely. Features a mostly plastic construction. Articulated screen hinge doesn't feel very solid. Input door is covered by a rubber flap. No cover for the camera's hot shoe. Canon EOS Rebel SL3 body FS 18 to 55 mm f/4 to 5.6 is STM lens covers shoulder strap 1XL PE17 battery charger. Owner's manual. Rubber eye cup around the viewfinder feels comfortable and well padded. Hand grip should accommodate a wide variety of hand sizes, without fingers getting pinched between the body and lens. Hand grip has a textured surface that provides a secure hold. Adjusting aperture and ISO requires multiple button presses, as these settings can't be changed using only the command dials. SD card can't be changed while the camera is mounted on a tripod due to bottom hinged compartment door. The Canon POWERSHOT G7X Mark III is a compact point-and-shoot camera suitable for vlogging. It can capture good quality shots that remain mostly free of noticeable visual noise, so your images shouldn't appear very grainy, and you can also use this camera to live stream directly to YouTube, though we don't currently test this. It has a touch-sensitive screen that can get bright enough that you can still see it under direct sunlight. You can also use it to navigate its menu or flip it upwards to face you when the camera is pointed at you. The Canon POWERSHOT G7X Mark III is good for vlogging. It has a great screen that you can flip up to face you when the camera is pointed at you. It's also exceptionally portable, and footage taken while walking should remain smooth and stable. It can shoot in 4K and FHD without a crop. However, it does incur a reduction in your field of view when its stabilization feature is set to high. It's also okay at tracking faces, though it struggles to capture clear and sharp footage free of noticeable visual noise while shooting in 4K and FHD. Unfortunately, its battery performance is poor and frequently causes the camera to shut down from overheating, especially when shooting in 4K. This can make it hard to record long videos in 4K, so it may be best to stick to recording. Body is made of plastic and metal. The EOS M50 Mark II is a compact and easy-to-use mirrorless camera with a 24MP APS-C sensor. It features only modest upgrades compared to its predecessor, but it comes in at an attractive price point with pleasing ergonomics and solid image quality. Upgrades include autofocus refinements, vertical video shooting and the ability to livestream to YouTube directly from the camera, given a strong enough Wi-Fi signal. The EOS M50 Mark II is styled like a mini DSLR, and although it's small, the grip is substantial and comfortable. The camera's controls are almost identical to its predecessor. The control dial, shutter button, record button and MFN can all be found on the top right-hand side of the camera's body. The rest of the camera's controls run alongside the right backside. They're somewhat small and crammed together, and in many cases it's simply easier to use the touchscreen to change your settings. This is particularly true of the small video record button that is flush with the camera's body. Recording video is a lot easier to do via the camera's touchscreen. The menu is easy to navigate and follows the standard organization found in other Canon EOS cameras. The M50 Mark II has a built-in LED pop-up flash, which is decent for using as a fill, while the hot shoe allows you to connect a more powerful external flash. The camera has a 3.5mm microphone jack, micro HDMI and USB micro B slots running down the side. Unfortunately, there is no headphone jack to monitor audio levels while recording video, but that's pretty standard for cameras in this class. Although the M50 Mark II is incredibly lightweight and compact, it's still very comfortable to shoot with thanks to that substantial grip. It's SEPA rated to capture 305 images per charge, and if you are only shooting stills, we found its battery life was solid for a day or more of photocentric activities. If you plan to shoot a lot of video, though, you will want to bring a spare battery along because the battery drains fast. Keep in mind as well, one of the biggest upgrades to the EOS M50 Mark II is its autofocus capability. Although the camera has the same basic AF system as the previous model, the Mark II features face and eye tracking when shooting both stills and video. During our time with the M50 Mark II, we found eye tracking to work very well, even when shooting fast-moving subjects in conditions with low lighting. The EOS M50 Mark II is capable of 4K capture, but we find it's really best if you are planning to stick to 1080p. The 4K/24p video is heavily cropped and you can't use the camera's dual-pixel autofocus, it's contrast detection only. Basically, this means that the focus is disappointingly unreliable in 4K mode unless you're right next to your subject, and the cropping makes it difficult to shoot wider angle scenes or film yourself holding the camera at arm's length. Canon's EOS 5 South African Rand is an excellent camera for professionals or anyone that's looking for a supremely capable option for almost any type of photography, from sports and action to studio portraits and landscapes. It's a 45MP full-frame mirrorless camera that can shoot clips of 8K video, has impressive dual-pixel autofocus and excellent ergonomics. It can also capture 10-bit HDR stills and video for HDR display and is the spiritual, and mirrorless, successor to Canon's 5D series DSLR cameras. It's not a perfect camera, but we think it's an excellent and highly competitive addition to an already crowded field of competent high-resolution full-frame mirrorless cameras. At 45MP, the EOS 5 South African Rand is the highest resolution Canon camera we've seen for quite some time, and that puts it up squarely against some really capable competition. There are just bags of detail everywhere you look. The EOS R5 has an AA filter. It still shows plenty of moire here but perhaps a hair less than the competitors in other spots. As ISO values climb, the EOS R5 really looks to hold its own up to ISO 12800. By ISO 25600, it starts to lose ground to the Nikon, but is just slightly better than the Panasonic. We'd probably not bother going much higher than that. Let's look at 8K first, and you can immediately see that. Well, it just looks like a high megapixel still image. Everywhere you look, there's just an absurd amount of detail. But, 8K file sizes being what they are, what if you swapped over to the high-quality 4K setting, which takes the 8K footage you see here and downsamples it in camera for you? In this HQ 4K mode, the EOS R5 handily turns in the best-looking footage of its high megapixel cohort. This is because the 4K is taken from perfectly oversampled 8K footage, and so you basically get the maximum detail that 4K can convey. All the other options look either a little fuzzy or just pixelated next to the Canon. But HQ 4K isn't without its own issues, it still generates a lot of heat, since the camera is, after all, still effectively shooting 8K. So let's switch to the ordinary 4K mode, and the playing field immediately evens out. The footage is by no means uncompetitive, but it's no longer extraordinary. Thankfully, you don't pay a further quality penalty for high frame rate 4K/120p footage. We do have to say, though, that we're impressed by the Canon's full HD output. If you're primarily a still shooter and don't need 4K or 8K recording, the EOS R5 will get you the best detail capture in 1080p out of this group of cameras. The Canon EOS 5D series is arguably one of the most recognizable camera lines of the digital age, and the Mark IV is designed to appeal to the same wide range of enthusiasts and professionals. Nearly identical looking to its predecessor, It receives substantial upgrades under the hood, including a higher resolution sensor with dual pixel autofocus, 4K video capture, an upgraded AF system, a touchscreen, improved weather sealing, built-in Wi-Fi/NFC, an interval timer and GPS. All this adds up to a camera that fits into Canon's product line nicely as the all-around full-frame option. It is built around a new 30.4MP CMOS sensor and uses the Digic 6 Plus processor. The AF system is from the flagship 1DX Mark II and contains 61 AF points, 41 of which are cross-type, with up to 24% expanded vertical coverage compared with the system in the Mark III. The center point is sensitive to 3EV in one-shot, AFS, mode. In live view the sensor is sensitive to 4EV with a fast lens. 4K video capture is a welcome addition to this camera and users can record in either 24 or 30p, albeit with a 1.64x crop. All footage is captured as motion JPEG. Additionally, the camera allows for 4K frame grabs, effectively giving users 30 fps stills shooting with dual pixel AF. We've seen that the camera suffers from some rolling shutter, but it may still have some merit for capturing the decisive moment when 7 fps just isn't enough. While developing the fourth, Canon says it sought feedback from 5D series users and found that dynamic range, resolution, AF precision and AF speed were the four most important areas improvements were requested. On paper, the Mark IV seems to address these aspects nicely.